We'll take the compliments, Leighton. Come on, keep them coming.
Talented. Talent. Oh.
All of you were raised by wolves.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, again, hey, listen, Coop, I said it doesn't take much talent to kneel the ball, Coop. It's very like anybody in high school can even kneel the ball. All right, Coop.
What's going on, Canes fans and my college football family? Welcome to another episode of the Inside Insight Show, a series where I bring on a content creator that covers our opponent so they can tell us a little bit more about their team. And I'm very thankful today to be joined by Leighton from the channel Toughy Talk. Y'all clap it up for Leighton. Come on, Leighton. Hey, I know you can't hear it right now. Hey, but in post-production, it's literally a standing ovation. Leighton, they're going crazy. I hear them in the background. Whoa now. I don't know about that. Now, and speaking of that, let's. I need to get something out of the way before we dive into this football talk. This is only the second one-on-one conversation I have had with an NC State fan. And the first one was actually with you, Leighton, a couple days ago over on your channel. And I say that just to let Canes fans know that NC State fans do exist. I've never met one out in the wild in person. But hey, two times this week, I've spoken with an NC State fan face-to-face through the internet, but they are out there. So...
because we're no Walmart fans. You don't go to any Walmart across the country find NC State stuff. You gotta be born into it. You don't just choose to be an NC State fan. You're born into it for sure.
Well, now is it true? I keep having NC State fans tell me that all of you were raised by wolves. Is there any truth to that?
I mean, Big Sean said it, so I mean, if Big Sean said it, then then I guess it's gotta be true, right?
True.
Yeah.
Oh man. So if you could take a second here, Leighton, I gotta have some fun with it because NC State fans weren't really big fans of my intro skit in my preview video with the dog doo-doo. So I gotta fire back a little bit here, Leighton. But take a moment and tell the people a little bit about yourself and your channel.
Yeah, so Leighton Smith, I've been a diehard NC State fan my whole life. Went to NC State. I was actually a football equipment manager at State. I actually started Dorn's first year and was with him through 2016. So that's why for me, I'm a little bit more invested, in the football side because, I mean, I can honestly say I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that program, gave a lot of time and made a lot of amazing memories, but, also too went through the rough years. I mean, 2013, we went 3-9 that year, I think. I mean, it was a rough year, and got blown out by Florida State, but so did everybody that year in 2013. So, that's why I always say whenever State fans complain, I'm like, hey, it could be, and it was a lot worse than it is right now. Let's put it that way. So Toughy Talk, just like Coop, we're primarily through YouTube, but we also export our audio for our episodes. If anybody ever wants to listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio, whatever it may be, you can all listen there as well. But and then all of our social media is at Toughy Talk. At Toughy Talk now. So on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So yeah, and again, make sure y'all do. If you want to go check out our interview with Coop talking about the Miami game from the NC State perspective.
Oh yeah,
you should go check it out. We got a two-parter and about a little bit over an hour of content. Great conversation. So.
Yeah, we went in, man, and that was such a good time. We talked a lot before, we talked a lot after, and you guys know what to do. I'm gonna link the Toughy Talk stuff down in the description. I'm gonna link it in my pinned comment, and I always tell people this, Leighton, because a lot of fans are, if you're a Miami fan, you're a diehard Miami fan. You don't want to show love to the NC State side. If you're an NC State fan, you don't want to show love to the Miami side. But here's what I always remind people. Two things. First off, we're all one big happy college football family. We all just love this sport. The trash talking stuff is fun. We just love this game, right? But also, Miami fans, after we win the game on Saturday, you can go troll the Toughy Talk channel and go type, right? Go type over on the interview that they did with your boy Coop and we can run our mouths a little bit on Saturday night. I guess it'll be early Sunday morning by the time this night game is over. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off with a bang and talk about the hot topic, which is quarterbacks. You guys have settled on the sophomore, MJ Morris. Could you maybe take a second and tell me a little bit more about him and why possibly they decided to make that swap from Brennan Armstrong?
Yeah, so with Brennan, listen, it's kind of one of those tough things where MJ Morris last year, keeping in mind that last year he came in as a true freshman. He didn't come in the spring, so he came in directly, out of, for summer ball. So, didn't get a lot of reps. And then, you go into the season ranked number 13 in the country, and you lose Devin Leary, who was our starting quarterback, like 4 or 5 games in, and he's out for the season with a shoulder injury. And then you put in Jack Chambers, who was a transfer from a smaller D1 school, and he's not looking really too hot. And so then you put in MJ Morris just to see what you got. And his first real game in was against Virginia Tech, and he comes in and we're down 14-17 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, brings us all the way back and wins the game against Virginia Tech. And then he plays against a ranked, I think, number 21 in the country, Wake Forest, beats them with Sam Hartman, so beats a top 25 ranked Wake Forest.
Okay.
So and then you play against Boston College, and then you lose as a 19.5 point favorite. And we had the opportunity to break the all-time NC State home record, but that's another story. But at the end of the day, I think it's that a lot of State fans really bought into MJ Morris because of the fact he was this true freshman in a no expectation situation. Like nobody's gonna expect a third stringer, true freshman to come in and come back against Virginia Tech, beat a Sam Hartman led top 25 Wake Forest team. But he did both times. And so I think that going into this offseason, when you heard that Brennan Armstrong was going to come in, a lot of State fans like not really happy about it because they really bought into MJ Morris. But then again, you bring in Robert Nye, who was the former offensive coordinator with Brennan Armstrong. And when Brennan Armstrong was having his ridiculous 45 touchdown, 15 interception season, and you say, hey, I can get those two guys back together. Okay. Because if you give me 80% or even probably 60% of what you guys had at Virginia with the defense we have, we should have a great season. But obviously UConn, wasn't really much offensively. I mean, all the touchdowns Brennan scored or that we scored that day were by running the ball, not by passing. And then Notre Dame, tough loss, but at the end of the day, we were in it, but definitely some missed opportunities. Okay, it is what it is. But then you go to Virginia and you're saying, oh man, this is going to be the breakout game. He's going back to his old school. This is the game he's going to ball out.
You got to go off.
And he doesn't really go off. Just a lot of missed passes. And so, but at the end of the day, we won the game. So you're like, okay, well, we won the game. So, on to the next. Well, then Louisville. And of course, at the time we were saying, well, it's Louisville. Of course, now we know. I mean, they're actually a pretty solid team. I mean, they had won a lot of big games, but we had the opportunity to win the game. I mean, we were up 10-0 at halftime, and then Brennan Armstrong fumbles the ball running up the middle because he just wasn't paying attention, and the guy comes and hits him right on the ball. He loses it. Which you say, well, you're a super senior, so you should know better. If you're going up the middle, you need to protect that ball. But okay, it is what it is. But then at the end of the day, our defense held Louisville, who, keep in mind, up until this point was averaging 35 points a game. At this point, Louisville had only scored 13. You're at 10. You had the ball with less than 2 minutes left, an opportunity to go down, at least tie the game, if not win it. First play, Brennan, again, the ball gets tipped, but the ball goes straight up in the air and it gets intercepted. It was at that point that you said, all right, listen, we got to move on. We got to make a change. Because I think we've seen since then, again, us only scoring 3 points against Duke, that the offensive issues go way beyond Brennan Armstrong. I truly do say that the issues with the offense are maybe 20% Brennan's fault. They were minute, but not much. Just because, again, I mean, you've seen the offense without Brennan and the struggle too. And you say, well, I mean, offensively, our wide receivers are not getting much separation. Kevin Concepcion is the one bright spot.
Now, you did mention the wide receiver, Kevin Concepcion.
Oh, yeah.
I got to put that little twang on it there every time I say it. And maybe this isn't one of the answers. I don't know, but I know that he's a big-time playmaker for you guys. Could you give me maybe one or possibly two playmakers on both sides of the ball for you guys, both on offense and defense? And I'm talking about names that Miami fans are going to be hearing a lot on Saturday.
Yeah. So Kevin Concepcion, I mean, let's put it this way: if you guys aren't here, if Miami fans aren't hearing his name a lot, then wow, there are problems because there's no reason we shouldn't be force feeding the ball some way to Kevin Concepcion. I mean, this guy, I mean, is first right now in the country in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns among all freshman wide receivers in the country. So I mean, this guy is balling out so far. Now I know that first of all, you might say, well, but I mean, we've thrown the ball a lot to him. So, it's, if you have that many opportunities, but then we've asked him to step up and he's made plays for us against Clemson. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns against Clemson. Against Virginia, he had 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's a baller. Like there's a bright future ahead for him. And then another name, which I would give you probably would be, I mean, MJ is a guy, but another guy which I would say to watch out for on the offensive side would probably be either Terrell Timmons, outside wide receiver,
Okay.
um, or Trent Penix. Trent Penix is a name which even state fans haven't really heard a lot about. He's a guy that's a 6-year senior. He came in as a running back, but he's kind of moved into more of a utility guy, like a tight end slash running back slash wide receiver slash whatever you need him to be. A guy that has 4.4 speed, a little bit, but he's, bulkier side, but he's really the biggest issue with him is a lot of injuries. Like he didn't play against Clemson because he had a boot on, but from what I hear, he's back at practice. He's the guy that again can be a playmaker. Scored 2 touchdowns as well against Marshall. So I mean, watch out for him. And then Terrell Timmons on the outside, I kind of say 1A, 1B, because Terrell Timmons is a guy that has shown to have that relationship, that camaraderie with MJ Morris, our starting quarterback. And he can really be that deep threat guy. So 82, Terrell Timmons. Don't be surprised if you see a deep shot or two to him on Saturday.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. And I actually
and
have that. Speaking of the offense, real quick, I have that as a key to a victory for Miami is locking down KC. Like that, we have to slow that guy's production. And I know we talked about it on your channel in the interview, but Miami has trouble with that with some of these teams we face with their big star receiver. We couldn't stop Malik Washington with UVA. We couldn't stop Tez Walker with UNC. So this has been something we've seen Miami consistently struggle with. So I'm not going to lie. I am worried about that guy on Saturday. I absolutely am. And even if the scenario, it's tough, right? Because even if Miami wants to focus on locking down Kevin Concepcion, well, then it opens up possibilities for other guys. And you mentioned the guy that you said is the athlete came in as running back, the Penix, yep. Yeah, and some of these other guys, outside receivers and stuff. So I am definitely worried about that guy on Saturday. But yeah, on defense, what about some names?
Yeah. I mean, just to highlight, KC is the guy. If you can shut him down, then we're definitely going to be scratching and praying that somebody else can step up for sure. But anyway, in the defensive side, I mean, you guys started Peyton Wilson. I mean, this guy, in my opinion, is the best linebacker in college football, which I know is completely biased, but I think honestly too. I mean, this guy's averaging over 11 sacks. I'm sorry, 11 sacks. Oh gosh, 11 tackles.
That'd be nice,
game,
right?
Shoot, that would be nice. 11 tackles a game. I mean, he had a pick 6 against Clemson. This guy could do it all. He's 6'4", 6'5". Probably 250 build. I mean, he's jacked and he's fast. I mean, I think they clocked him at 23 miles an hour chasing down the running back versus Notre Dame when we played against Notre Dame. So he's got speed. He's got some hit to him, man. He's got a great football IQ. He's a senior. So I mean, he's a baller for sure. Definitely watch out for number 11, Peyton Wilson. And then Aiden White, got to give a shout out to my man Aiden White at the corner position. He's a guy which, believe it or not, has not seen a lot of action this season because I've heard from multiple different offensive people from opposing teams that they basically avoided his side as much as possible. I mean, like, this guy, was on preseason All-American lists, and I don't know how they look at grading All-American lists at the end of the season, but I mean, one thing I would say is they're not throwing much to him. So I mean, his,
Right.
so he probably doesn't have many targets his way, but
Yeah.
but yeah, he's a guy that definitely has NFL talent caliber on him. Aiden White, number 3 cornerback. So yeah, number 3 Aiden White cornerback, and number 11 Peyton Wilson linebacker. Those are 2 guys I would highlight.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point there with that, because Miami has a similar situation with a corner by the name of Daryl Porter Jr., to where when you look at the stats, they don't look super impressive, but it's because teams aren't throwing the ball his way. So he kind of has limited
Right.
opportunities to make a play in the game. So that's very interesting. Now, what
Yep.
about are there any position groups or just areas in general that you feel like NC State has an obvious advantage over Miami coming into this game?
I mean, it's been made very clear even by Doran, and we've talked about, and other, NC State media members have talked about it. About, yeah, I mean that Miami, and I've said even during the interview that Miami arguably is the most talented group of players
Yeah,
in the ACC.
we'll take the compliments,
Now
Layton. Come on, keep them coming.
talented, but at the end of the day, you gotta do something with it, Coop. You gotta do something with it. And hey, Mario Cristobal, hey, listen, talent. It doesn't take much talent to kneel the ball, Coop. It's very like
Oh,
anybody
okay.
in high school can even kneel the ball.
Okay.
All right, Coop. I know. Hey, listen, I had to say it because I've hyped up Miami a lot, so I had to bring it back down.
I'm ready, Layton. I'm
No, no,
ready.
no. Uh, let's do it. No, yeah, no. So I mean, in terms of advantage, I would say I would have to say linebacker. My initial thought is defensive line, just because I mean we're towards the top of the ACC in terms of sacks, but
Mm,
I've seen Miami enough to know they have a heck of a defensive line. So I'm hesitant to really say that. So I would say linebacker. I mean, just because I mean you have Peyton Wilson, but then you have 3 or 4 line. I would say 3 linebackers off the top of my head I can easily name that are solid young linebackers, and Devon Betty, Caden Fordham, you name it. So yeah, linebackers, I would say maybe, but again, I think with this game, it's going to go beyond talent, and it's going to go more to will and the ability of Miami to be able to handle the Carter Finley that they're going to have to face on Saturday.
which we will talk about that. We're getting into it right here, because my next question was, let's talk stadium.
Yeah.
How hostile of an environment is Carter Finley? Because NC State fans are telling me that this place gets pretty loud, and Miami has played one road ACC game also at night against North Carolina, which we lost. I've never been to Carter Finley, so is this place lit, or what's the deal?
Well, one of the things is, Carter. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but definitely playing at night at really any college football stadium that has a half decent, environment
Yeah,
is going to be way tougher at night. Just again, the buildup of the day, and it's the last thing of the day, and you have all these fans that are just waiting with anxiety to get this game going. But especially, I would say as well, the added bonus as well is that this is a big game for us. I mean, again, we have 2 games coming up against Virginia Tech and Wake Forest, and then you have UNC to wrap it up. And yeah, we're coming off a big win on Clemson, and we're trying to build off of it. Just like you guys are, trying to build off. Beating Clemson, come back against UVA, trying to keep this thing going. You got Florida State coming up next week, and so the last thing you want to do is to lose to NC State before having to go to Doak Campbell and play Florida State.
yep.
So, but yeah, in terms of environments, I mean, so NC State we were actually tied back in 2022 with the longest home win streak with 16 straight home wins, which was one of the top streaks in the country, top 5 actually. And so I mean, it's a tough place to play, and a lot of it has to do with, first of all, just kind of how the stadium is built. I actually went to UVA for the first time this season, and the one thing which stood out to me was that the seats kind of do like a bowl shape, where kind of starts high, but then it kind of dips down.
Right.
While with Carter Finley, it's more of a pyramid, like a triangle, so it's more straight down, and the bottom seat is about 6 to 8 feet above the field level. So meaning that if you're on the front row of Carter Finley Stadium, and there's actually a funny video where a fan actually was recording the Louisville defensive huddle while
Mm-hmm.
they were on their sidelines, and like the coach was like trying to draw up the plays. Like there was a state fan that was like literally recording it because
Oh, I
he
could
he
see
literally had
it.
a perfect view. Yeah, like, I can literally see it. So he's literally recording it, and there's all these Louisville players that were in the huddle, like throwing stuff at him, trying to get him to stop recording and stuff like that. So like it's built so that way, like the fans are really on top of the players,
Hmm.
on top of the game. Um, and so again, it's a loud environment, but I can just say that the fact that we had 16 home wins in a row, I mean that's a stat that can back that can back that statement up in my opinion.
Now, what I'm going to
Absolutely.
do, we're about to get into either win-loss prediction, score prediction, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll give you my score. But
Yep.
before I do, we talked about, position groups or areas you feel like NC State has an advantage. What would be maybe one of your biggest concerns going into this game against Miami?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say offensive line, which is it's so funny because I feel like it's almost kind of like a get out of jail free card, answer for most college football fans. I don't think there's probably maybe a few teams, fans in the whole country that say, yeah, we have a really good offensive line. I feel like every single, fan you talk to, you're like, yeah, offensive line is kind of struggling. It's like, okay. But anyway, but like for us, it's more of just because, versus Clemson, it's something that we really struggle with, and especially with a younger quarterback, and a true sophomore quarterback like MJ Morris, who didn't have any first team reps over the summer because all those were given to Brian Armstrong. And, he's still, just trying to get things rolling. So really
Yeah.
trying to keep that pocket as clean as possible for MJ, giving him an opportunity to make the reads and get the ball where he wants it to. That's big. And especially because of the fact that, just like I said before, Miami's defensive line is very, very good.
They
So
create some
um,
chaos. It's
absolutely.
it's insane to watch.
Absolutely. And also too the fact that before Clemson, we actually did a reshuffle of the offensive line where we had uh, a graduate student guard named Derek Eason, who we actually switched out. And we took our right tackle, who was also a graduate student, Tim McKay, moved him down to guard. And now we're starting a true freshman, I believe, Jacarius Peak at right tackle. So, but he's a guy that has shown a lot of promise, but he's young. Again,
Yeah.
he's a freshman. So opportunities.
Am I hearing that maybe Miami's D line might be able to eat a little bit on Saturday? Maybe
I mean,
feast a
again,
little
I
bit on
mean,
that O line.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, hey, listen, Coop. I said it's a hole. Okay, it's a
Yo,
worry for
look,
concern.
Miami fans, we love our D line, man. Like we're down a couple guys though. Honestly, Kelly's out, Mesidor's out. We got some guys playing hurt, but a lot of teams are, at this point in the season. We're really happy with our D
Yep.
line, man. We're gonna brag on them. We are.
Hey,
Um,
I get it. I get it. So yeah, that would be my one worry.
okay,
Just trying to keep the pocket open and giving MJ an opportunity to make a play.
okay. So
Mhm.
let's wrap this thing up here, Leighton, and I'll go ahead and break the ice here. As I said, I don't want
Okay.
to put people in uncomfortable positions. You don't have to give numbers if you don't want to do that. If you want to just talk about maybe how you're feeling, or you can give numbers, win loss, whatever you want. I'm gonna go ahead and come out. I put it out there. It's everywhere. Miami
Yep.
in a tight
Yeah.
one. So, yeah, I'm running my mouth a little bit because it's college football. We love to talk trash. But I am expecting a defensive battle, a close game. I don't think anybody's blowing anybody out here. I've got 24-20, Miami over NC State at Carter Finley Stadium. How does Leighton
I
feel
like it.
about this game?
How do I feel? It's funny. If you would have asked me a week ago, how do I feel? Because we literally didn't do a Clemson preview because I was like, I don't know what we preview because I have no idea what we're gonna see. I have no clue. We could see what we saw against Duke, which was a lot of frustration, or we could see what we saw against Marshall, where we scored 48 points. It's like I have no idea what we're gonna see. But now that we've seen, definitely not an offensive, like, a classroom where, I mean, it's not like we look great offensively, but we made the plays when we needed to. We
Mhm.
kept it clean. We didn't beat ourselves. We had no snap penalties. We didn't turn the ball over, and we forced Clemson to, I think, two or three interceptions, one for a pick six. So I think that's the biggest thing is once again we can't give Miami more opportunities than they already are given. Like you, because I even watched your video about how you said, it's imperative that Miami starts off quick,
We
and
have to.
I
We
completely agree.
must.
I completely agree. Like, I think that if Miami puts us behind, I'm really I'm really nervous about coming from behind. But I
Mhm.
think that if we are right there with you or ahead, then I believe in our defense enough, who has been a bend but don't break defense for the last 3 years at least. So that's why for me, I'm kind of feeling uh I'm kind of feeling like a 21-20 game. I'm feeling a really close one for NC State. NC
Okay,
State.
we had to get
NC State.
clarification for the people.
21-20 NC State. Well, and because again, I mean, I'm a a guy that has put his hands in betting before, and I
Yeah.
see that the line opened at 3 for Miami, and now it's up to
Mhm.
5.5.
Yep.
So there's no doubt Vegas is moving the Miami's way. So yeah, so I mean, but I'm also saying as well that I think Carter Finley is going to make an impact. I think that our defense does a great job of coming out prepared, is able to force, a couple of punts early. And then I am also saying that we draw first blood, which I think that if we can do that, if our defense can hold it down and let our offense get first blood, then I think we're in a good position to win the game. But I think it's going to be a great game. I'm
Oh
super
yeah.
super excited. But so that's why I'm kind of doing 20, because I'm seeing a couple of touchdowns, but I'm also seeing a couple of huge stops, deep in the red zone for our defense to force Miami to kick some field goals as well.
Yeah, and you're gonna see early on with Miami. I mean, just watch the quarterback situation. If they march Tyler Van Dyke out there again, if he's not at least 90%, if he starts overthrowing some balls, you brought up the point of talking about your linebackers. I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrified of him throwing a pick six after watching that one against Clemson. So again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super confident in that 24-20. I realize
Yeah,
that's not what
same here.
Miami fans want to hear. They want the trash talk and stuff, but I'm not. This game could go either way. If I'm betting on it, I'm putting my money on Miami personally, but I think that's going to be a tight game, and I'd be really surprised if it's not, honestly. So Layton's got 21-20, NC State. Coop with 24-20, Miami. Layton, do you have any closing thoughts for the people? A message to Miami fans, NC State fans? Anything?
Hey, listen, Coop, when we had you on the show, the one thing we said is that we both agree one thing, which is UNC sucks. So,
Yes. Yes.
so
Down with
that is
Mac Brown. Put him in the retirement home. Get him
amen to
out of
that.
there.
But hey, I love it right now. Okay, Mike Brown, keep this going, man. You're doing a
Yeah.
great job losing to Virginia, losing to Georgia Tech. I love it. Keep it going with Drake May and Sam Howell as your quarterback,
Mm.
bro. I mean, poor guys, man. Keep it going, dude. But I feel for Drake May, dude. That dude's too good of a quarterback to
That's
be going
true.
through what he's going through right now. So, but at the end of the day, Miami fans, again, if you're coming to Carter Finley, hopefully you have a great time for sure. We definitely try to have that Southern hospitality for sure. The tailgating's awesome. So if you're going to come early, come hang out. And again, looking forward to an awesome game here Saturday night.
All right, Layton, we appreciate you so much. You guys don't forget to check out his channel, Toughy Talk. Again, links in the description and in the pinned comment. Go over there. Let's talk some trash. Let's have some fun with this game coming up in a few days. And Layton, I don't know. What is it that NC State fans do? The
Wolf fans, baby. Go pack, man. Go pack.
Oh, okay.
It's a Wolf fan, baby.
I
Wolf
guess.
fan,
I
baby.
guess.
Wolf fan, baby.
Hey,
Hey,
go
hey,
Gates.
hey, hey, K Yao came up with this, man. Don't disrespect K Yao, man. K Yao's a legend.
Oh man. Hey, Layton,
Yeah.
we appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, Coop.
Peace, y'all.